What's happening, everybody? My name's Kyle Pancis. If it's your first time tuning in, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. If not, thanks for your continued support. I'm back at it here today with my 2001 Saab 9.3 Viggen. This build is coming to a close. I actually have somebody interested in purchasing it. I do want to hold on to it just for a few more weeks, just for not only my sheer enjoyment, but we're also going to have to facilitate a shipping situation. So let me dive into this video and I'll give you guys the full heads up and rundown of what's going on. Pretty freaking exciting story here. Nothing's inked and signed yet. We have agreed on a price, but yeah, let's hop into this video. Alright guys, so before I hop into the actual story of the sale of this car, I'm going to replace the air cabin filter. The HVAC system has like this musky smell, and I'm believing that these cartridges here that sit here over time, I'm sure this is original to the car, because usually like 90,000 miles they were used to be required or recommended to be changed, and granted, we're at 112, but we're also 20 years later. I'm sure somebody never changed it in this car. So I'm going to go in there under the cowl, and we're going to go ahead and clean up whatever debris under there. It could be leaves. It could be, you know, all sorts of stuff from the elements. And also, you know, these things collect dirt and dust and debris, and over time it turns into like a muck mud. And if that's what's in there, most likely, we're going to hop into that, and I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like here. So I'm just going to remove that passenger side windshield and windshield wiper, and then we'll go ahead and dive into this. All right, guys, so there you have it. This thing is full of debris. I wouldn't say it's the dirtiest in the world, but we're just gonna go ahead and clean that out and put a new filter in. The old versus the new. You guys can just see how this is all this debris built up inside. Not the worst thing in the world. I've seen these things worse, but there you go. Better safe than sorry. All right, guys, so I just wrapped up everything here. We got this all back together. And for the record, I redid all of the pillars with this black 3M tape that exists. So everything's refreshed. Did it all around the car. Touched on it in the last video, but finalized 2 more pillars since I ran out of tape. So anyways, a couple weeks ago, this gentleman reached out to me from Sweden. I will not drop any names for privacy because I haven't talked to him about this. But to say a long story short, he was part of the engineering team for this vehicle back from 97 to 2001. And he spent a lot of time on the engine. And from what I understand, he also did a lot of time driving the 9.3s and also the 9.5s, testing them all around the world, Canada, US, Europe. So this guy was heavily involved in the production of this fine automobile. And he had reached out to me about 3 weeks ago now, talking to me about this. I knew about it before the last video upload, but we just discussed price this past couple days, and he agreed to the price. You know, obviously it's a strong price for this vehicle, but we have a fully rebuilt and built motor with Wasner pistons, a brand new clutch, brand new slave cylinder, brand new rims, brand new tires. Everything in the car works. So, you know, we have a fully built car here. This thing is literally like new. Obviously it's got a couple flaws here and there around the car. It is almost 20 years old, but it's probably one of the best Viggens I've seen personally on the road. That was one of the reasons why I purchased it, because a lot of times you find these things, you know, dented, scratched, and rusted, and the body on this car was really immaculate, minus the front bumper, but obviously, as you guys know, we addressed that and had everything painted. somebody should get, maybe whoever buys this car for me, the gentleman that buys this car should get some touch-up paint just to touch that up. And I'm going to work on getting this little dinger out here. Somebody must have palmed the hood here, closing it. I do have a new emblem coming in. So other than like this spec right here, I think that's one of the worst on this entire car. I mean, there's a couple little chips here and there, obviously, but for the most part, this thing is really freaking clean, which is why when I got the car, I spent all the money getting the rims redone, and I spent the money on the body work, getting it all painted and proper, because this car needed it. It deserved it. And whatever little flaws that there were on it, it needed to be addressed. This is like just a rock chip. What are you gonna do? The windshield, usually these windshields you find like real sandy from rock chips over the years. I like sand marks, if you will. This thing is perfectly clean, this windshield. I don't know if it's replaced at all. It looks original to me. I haven't seen any factors that play a role in that being replaced, but there is 0 cracks. I hopefully knock on wood because I'm not done driving the car, but there's 0 cracks on that thing, and it is completely clean. Like I said, there's no road rash, if you will, on the glass. And it looks like whoever owned this car, and I'm glad for it, this rear windshield wiper was never seemingly used. Sometimes these things run and scratches up the window. This car does not have a scratched window. So like, these little things, in my humble opinion, make a huge difference in a car, especially when you're talking about a limited production, limited edition vehicle. Obviously, these things aren't all worth $1 million, but over time, as you saw in the last 5 years, we saw really clean low mileage Viggens sell for 40, 50 grand on auction in the United States. We saw Viggens with 100, 150,000 well-kept, well-maintained vehicles sell for $15, $20, $25, $30,000. So like this vehicle right now, if I sell it for, let's say, I don't know, $10,000 or $15,000 or even $20,000, in the next 10 years, through attrition, there's gonna be less and less of these things on the road. I think already whatever Viggens are left are probably in the hands of Saab collectors or just car collectors in general. So hopefully there's not as much attrition as we've seen over the last decade or so. But there's really not that many. Let's say they've built 2,000 for the US, like, maybe half of them are left in good shape like this. So in the next 5-10 years, if this gentleman buys the car, I mean, not only is he part of the engineering and the production of this vehicle, which is historic in its own nature, right? The fastest front-wheel drive car in the world at the time that this thing was built, and all of the records and the things that this thing put together at its time of production is pretty freaking cool. So if this guy were to buy it as the guy that was part of the original team with a car this clean, I mean, this thing could be worth double the amount of money in the next 5-10 years, or let's say 10 years. Again, I'm not predicting or guaranteeing it, but just based on historicals with cars of this nature that are limited production, in solid condition, blah, 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 everything that goes along with it, you're going to probably see an appreciation in value. So, of course, if I asked a strong price, it's because I also put a lot of effort into making this thing near perfect. And that's kind of where it sits today, near perfect. And I'm not even done with it, guys. I'm still going to do some things. We're going to fix up the plastic trim. This front wheel well cover, the plastic was all busted up, so I got a new plastic wheel well cover for there. It's used, but brand new, not cracked or any damage. So we're gonna install that on here, which should help a little bit with this little bumper sag that we got going on, because that all attaches. We're gonna paint the plastic trim. I'm gonna sand it down and remove all of them, because they all should be matching black. This is blacker than the back because it's got less sun fade. So we're not done making this thing near perfect. The inside, as you guys have seen, it's a little dark, sorry, is also pretty clean and near perfect. So, there's a lot of amazing attributes. Again, near perfect is kind of what we're shooting for here, because again, it is a 20-year-old car. But anyone that's collecting these things with 100,000 miles is not going to be perfect, right? If it's got 30,000 miles or 20,000 or 50,000 miles, you should expect like almost perfect. But this isn't going to be a perfect. It's going to be near perfect, where you can still drive it, still enjoy it, and it still be freaking beautiful. And that's where we sit today. So this car is going to be exported back to Sweden to one of the original engineers on this vehicle. And I thought it is the coolest thing ever. This is the car I always wanted as a kid. I'm so happy it's mine right now, and I got to experience it. But I think it's the coolest ending to this Saab story right here, that this vehicle returns home to Sweden to a gentleman that was on the original production team, engineering this thing and making it what it is. How freaking cool is that, guys? I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video upload. We are not done with this car, so we're gonna keep shooting some video content, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next one.